Okay, let's dive into what's happening with gas prices. If you haven't seen, they're very, very high. And you might hear a lot of misinformation. All the summer months, summer months, gas prices go up, no big deal. That's from people who want to gaslight you on the cost of gasoline. And the reason why today, Washington State, for the first time in history, by the way, has the highest gas prices on average in the nation is because of the carbon tax that Democrats in Washington State pushed through. Here's the headline from mynorthwest.com. WA most expensive state to buy gas for the first time in history. Again, nobody should be reading that and being like, shock of the century. It is by design. So first, let's look at where we're at compared to other states. We always use AAA for this because they got a handy little map that just spells it all out for us. So if you're watching the live stream, deep red is the highest on average gas prices. Not a surprise that is predominantly in West Coast states, in blue states. So the national average today is $3.58 per gallon. Washington State, however, is well above that. On average, in Washington State, the average cost of a gallon of gasoline is $4.93. I snapped a picture a couple days ago in Kirkland because some areas are much higher than $4.93. In Kirkland a few days ago, it was $5.39 for regular. It's sad. It's probably higher now, in fact. Because I took that picture a couple days ago.
Somebody posted a picture, and I think it was Auburn, of a $6 for premium.
Oh, I saw that too. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So depending on where you are in the state, obviously the west side of the state gas prices are going to be a little higher. King County, they're pretty high right now. But like I said, look, this was the obvious result of the carbon tax. When Inslee, this was his pet project, and he was pushing for it and ultimately got it passed. And every step of the way, Democrats, the Department of Ecology, they said, oh no, this won't, if it raises prices at the pump, it'll be minuscule. You almost won't be able to notice.
Pennies.
And pennies. At the same time, our friend Todd Myers with Washington Policy Center was warning up and down, of course it's going to raise the cost of gas. So it went into effect January 1st of this year. And he was like screaming from the rooftops, of course it's going to raise the cost of gas. That's what it's designed to do. And in California and other states that have done this, they admit that it's raising the cost of gas here. So I wanted to replay, we had Todd Myers on Sundays with Subscribers a month or so ago, and we talked about that very issue, the fact that he'd warned it was going to happen, and then we were already starting at the beginning of the year seeing the consequences of it.
The purpose of putting a price on carbon dioxide is to increase the cost of fossil fuels, gasoline, diesel, propane, natural gas. I mean, that's the goal. The goal is to make it more expensive so people want to use less of it.
But the state was very, very, they were making an effort to suggest that cost would not be passed on to consumers.
Yeah, and that was a ludicrous claim because everybody else who has carbon taxes openly says, of course it does, right? California, I reached out to the legislative analyst's office in California and exchanged emails with the woman who does the analysis for what it costs. She went to Whitman College like I did, so you can trust her. And she says, well, of course, here it costs 21 cents a gallon based on the cost of, per metric ton. So it's a very standard calculation that everybody recognizes, except the state of Washington. Now, I would argue that they actually know.
Right.
That they do know. They just don't want to pay the political price, which they want to get credit for helping the planet. They just don't want to risk their own political hides to get that credit. And I think that is a key point because politics intervenes on the effectiveness of environmental solutions because politicians care more about their own well-being than the well-being of the planet, which again is why we need to take power away from the politicians and put it in the hands of people. And I think the fact that the governor and the Department of Ecology are denying that a policy designed to raise gas prices raises gas prices is evidence of how strong, even with them, politics, how big the role is that politics plays in our environmental policy.
And one thing that Todd Myers has said in recent days, one, Nicole, you were saying, his estimates of what this would do to gas prices were almost exact, like off by maybe a cent.
1 cent. He said 46 cents. It's 45.
Yeah. And so, and then you had, I mean, they scrubbed, their denials from their website just about a month ago. We talked about on the show a couple weeks ago, but the Department of Ecology, they denied and denied and denied. And you have to wonder, is there accountability for that? Because it's not some innocent thing. First of all, as Todd said, this is just blatant gaslighting because they knew what the policy would do. They were lying. They were not even gaslighting. They were lying because they didn't want to own the consequences of that policy. And you have to wonder, well, where are the consequences for that? For the governor, for politicians who supported the carbon tax, for the Department of Ecology, which shouldn't be a political arm of the government, for having misled people. And now it is not only directly impacting your pocketbook at the gas pump, but all of the other things, like the grocery store, anything that requires a truck, anything that is delivered somewhere via gasoline, the cost of that is going to go up. That's a very serious thing. And it would be one thing for me if you had Jay Inslee and the Democrats saying, look, we know that this is going to lead to an increase in gas prices. We're going to own that. We think you should be driving an electric car. We think the environmental benefits outweigh the cost to you. And then they went with it anyway. I would have so much more respect for them. I'd still disagree with the policy, but I could respect the fact that they believed in it so much and we're going to be honest about the consequences, but they can't even do that. And I will say, we're going to close the show today with this in our daily sanity check. It is not just the politicians who supported this who are to blame. It is not just the Department of Ecology that lied about this that is to blame. The media is also to blame for letting them get away with it, for believing hook, line, and sinker what they were saying, no, this won't raise gas prices, and not taking seriously someone like Todd Myers, who's an expert in this area, who has no skin in the game except the truth, and sidelining what turns out to be his very accurate prediction about what this would do to gas prices in favor of just towing the government line. And we have an example of that, again, that we'll get to later on in Sanity Check. But there's a reason why, for the first time ever in recorded history, our gas prices are the highest in the nation. There's a reason for that, and it is the carbon tax.